Hello, I'm Megan Keller, and welcome to this special edition of Inside Temecula, your exclusive link to what's happening in Temecula and what it means to you. "2009 marks the 150th anniversary of the Township of Temecula, as well as our 20th year as a city. Like other large and small communities across the country, we base our birthday on the day the town's first post office opened.
Well, Temecula has such a rich and vibrant history, and Phil Bailey of the winemaking Bailey family was driving through Old Town Temecula a couple of months ago, and he looked up at the arches over Old Town and said Temecula established 1859. Well, Phil's no math wizard, but he figured out that that was 150 years ago, and that's when Temecula's first post office was established. And really, back then, establishing a post office was basically the founding of the community. So we're here tonight and throughout the entire year of 2009 to help Temecula celebrate their 150th anniversary of the founding of the post office and also this community's fabulous history.
Things really started coming together when John contacted the post office, because that's the anniversary really, and found out, hey, we're getting a new postmaster, and she wants to come to our next meeting, and so she's part of the committee too, and it's really been fun getting to know her. I mean, I've never known a postmaster before, you know.
My name is Susan Hoopy, and I'm the new postmaster of Temecula. I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for coming to today's events.
The post office here in Temecula has been around for 150 years. I myself have been with the post office for 25 years, so I have had the pleasure to experience some of the organizational changes throughout the years, and those changes would include anything from the stagecoach all the way to our automated vehicles. We're all the way up to green vehicles. Also with the mail distribution, when I first started 25 years ago, when people used to drop a letter in the mail, it used to go through a big machine that sucked one letter at a time in front of us, and we had to actually manually key each zip code and then sort it to the different cities. And then once it got to the station, we manually took those billions pieces of mail and put them into a holdout, and then manually put it in the truck and delivered it. And nowadays, the way it comes in, it has changed dramatically. When you drop that mail in your mailbox and we pick it up, we don't even sort it. It goes straight onto a truck to a processing plant that processes at a very fast rate, billions of pieces of mail. And when it does that, there's no more manual handling, and it just goes straight from a tray, sorted from a machine. When it comes in the morning, it goes straight to a truck. There is probably maybe 100 pieces that we actually handled where we were handling, you know, thousands of pieces of mail. We're down to less than 100 pieces of mail in the morning when it comes into our office. So everything is automated now. So we still are a key to the communication, but the way we deliver the mail and sort the mail now has dramatically changed throughout the years.
Well, as we celebrate the 150th anniversary of the first Temecula post office, we probably should talk about why that's such a big deal. Well, for one thing, it established Temecula as a Western landmark along the West Coast, because the Butterfield Overland Mail, and I'm standing next to this replica of the stagecoach, came all the way across the country and made stops from St. Louis all the way, and then it came up from San Diego through Temecula and made a stop here. The mail at that time was the lifeline for all the employees of the Vail Cattle Ranch, and that's actually, Temecula was just beginning as a town. So the Butterfield Overland Mail was the lifeline that tied Temecula to the rest of the country as people moved west to settle, and that's what we're celebrating today.
Back in the mid-1800s, there were lots of small communities springing up all over California. Some of them survived, while others dried up and were abandoned. Trade routes, stagecoach lines, and the post office played a major role in determining which communities made it and which ones didn't.
Going back 150 years, the Temecula post office was begun because of the Butterfield stage. The Butterfield stage ran from St. Louis, Missouri to San Diego and to Los Angeles. And it came through Temecula, and those going to San Diego went down, those going to Los Angeles went north. It was a great achievement for this little community. It gave us some permanency. We didn't become a city until 1989, and During the meantime, though, it had been a crossroad because the Temecula lies on the Southern Immigrant Trail that started back in Texas, came through the desert, through Arizona, and erupted into California. And after the gold rush in 1847, a lot of people started coming out this way. So Temecula became a very well-known crossroad.
This established that there was a community in Temecula. It was established on the National Register of Post Offices, and that meant that there was a community here that was large enough to have a post office. Now, for the local community, this was a place where people would come. They would come here because there'd be commerce, there'd be all their supplies, but they also had the ability to communicate with the rest of the world, both receive mail and send mail. That was an important factor back in those days.
To put all this into perspective, when Temecula's first post office opened in 1859, California was just 9 years old, and we were only the 7th community in the state to get a post office. It's been said that at one point or another, just about every old building in Temecula served as the post office. The current record holder is the Palomar Hotel in Old Town, which served as the post office for more than 30 years.
Chamber's involved in this historic event because it's very important for the community to recognize the importance of the post office and the effect that it's had on the business community in Temecula. 150 years ago, with the post office being here, it had a huge impact on the business community, and that focus on business community continues even through today.
It only makes sense that the city would be involved in this 150-year celebration. Certainly we've only been a city incorporated for 20 years. But a lot of what we stand for when we say old traditions and new opportunities is all about the rich history of this city and this community and this town. And it's what propels us forward into the visions that we create for the future for Temecula. So they go hand in hand.
Mail service through the Butterfield stage only lasted until March 1861 because the Civil War broke out and there were no safe routes between St. Louis and California. But the Temecula Post Office remained on the National Registry. In 1864, when the war ended, Wells Fargo, who had taken over the Butterfield stage line, began delivering mail again, and the rest, as they say, is history. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Inside Temecula, and please join us for our regular news updates right here on Channel 3. To watch Inside Temecula on the web, or for more information on what's happening in Temecula, check out Temecula Outreach at www.temeculaoutreach.com. Thanks for watching.